Hey, everybody. Happy Monday morning, August 3rd. I hope you're doing well and had a chance to get out on the water recently. Of course, the striped bass season has closed in Maryland, so there's no targeting or keeping of striped bass until September 1st. But I'm hearing there's lots of other options out there. I've been out on the water a bit myself and caught some croaker, some keeper-sized croaker. Of course, we all have heard about white perch populations being down. We've definitely recognized that out on the water. But I know the folks at Anglers had a fantastic white perch open yesterday, so congrats to them. And speaking of getting folks out on the water and catching some croaker, I was able to volunteer with the great folks at Combos for Kids last week, or maybe the week before, taking out some students fishing. We actually fished Noah's Reef and then another nearby reef in the Magathie River with a great group of friends. So folks, if you haven't seen Combos for Kids, the great program that they've built at Angler Sports Center in Annapolis, please check that out. Stop in the store, ask how you can help and support their work because they're doing great work to connect the future of fishing with our great sport. We've also been doing some of that ourselves. Of course, we'd look for partners to do that with throughout the year. CCA stocks a number of fishing rods that we obtain through great partners like Anglers or my local tackle shop, Tochterman's. They help us out and give us products at some great prices, often donated. And of course, we leverage our membership and our donations to get rods in the hands of young people or folks that need to be introduced to fishing. Of course, back in July, the Sharpstown Derby was a great example of this event, and kudos to Noah Bressman and Salisbury University for continuing to host a fantastic event. Molly Rudeau, who just joined our team, was down at that event to give out some great prizes as part of the Great Chesapeake Invasives Count. And of course, that event was focused on blue catfish, and they donated over 100 pounds of meat to a local charity. So again, kudos to Noah Bressman. CCA was happy to support that this year through our Great Chesapeake Invasives Count. And we're talking about taking a lead there to make sure that event continues to exist into the future. We also had Birdies for the Bay with our great friends at Chesapeake Bay Environmental Center in July. Thanks to Vicki and your team for putting together a great event. It was fun to get out on the golf course and connect people with how we work together. We've specifically built some shorelines with reef balls at Chesapeake Bay Environmental Center. They've been tremendous hosts to so many different events we're happy to do with them, like their Little Bobbers Kids Fishing event, and we built reef balls and hosted events there. So if you have not been to the Chesapeake Bay Environmental Center, you need to stop in there in Graysonville. Bayrestoration.org is their website. They have beautiful nature trails. You should become a member. A wonderful event space, fantastic kids programming and summer camps, kayak rentals, and just it's a great place to get outdoors. And so again, thank you, Vicki, and your team for including us in Birdies for the Bay. We also were able to support Shore Rivers and the Fellowship for Christian Athletes on 2 different youth fishing events that were held that same week earlier this month. CCA has a trailer, just like our reef ball program. We go and meet people where they are with our youth fishing equipment. We take it out to where people can use it. And in many cases, send it home with the young people that have been introduced to fishing. So 24 brand new fishing rod combos went out to the FCA camp, and the Fort Shore Rivers folks took kids fishing at Martinac State Park. We also just finished some more reef ball building again. We're back in the swing of things with Shore Rivers as they finished up a summer camp last week. So our Eastern Shore Reef Ball trailer continues to get the work done because of so many of you that have helped create our capacity to now have 3 reef ball trailers. We also have some dates for a fall deployment. We have a September 23rd deployment. This will be LJ's Reef, honoring our great friend Lonnie Johnson of GI Jigs, who is no longer with us, but we're building a reef in his honor in some of his favorite fishing spots down off of Breezy Point, the Plum Point Reef. So stand by for that. That will come in late September, and you'll see a lot more about that as we honor our great friend and member of our community. And so we're firing on all cylinders, doing all sorts of different work here. Thank you again to everybody who was part of our July work. We're here looking forward to what we can get done in August. Actually, one more July shout out. Thanks to the folks at Union Craft for hosting a lure swap. It was happening the same night as the World Cup final. So we had a nice big crowd having fun, talking fishing, doing a little bit of trading and buying of products from some vendors. There were some great oysters. And we're talking with Union Craft about some more activities here in the Baltimore region, which is actually a perfect segue to what we have coming up. Of course, we had Tides and Vibes in July back at Port Covington Marina, and new for this year at Port Covington Marina at Baltimore Peninsula is the Sea Garden facility. And so think beer garden by the water, a beautiful spot to come down and get a beverage. They have music, TVs, the World Cup game was on there too. It's a great facility, and we're doing more and more with our great partners down there. We have a date for a Tides and Vibes in August 16th. So I hope to see some folks out at that event. And we're always looking for volunteers to come out and help with the fishing rods, because that's another place where we're connecting with people, letting them go fishing at the marina, giving them the right equipment and often sending them home with it. So if you can come out on a Sunday evening, August 16th, we'd love to have you. It's all land-based and family-friendly. There's great activities. Our friends from Chesapeake Bay Foundation will be there, as well as some other fantastic vendors to occupy your time to enjoy a nice Sunday evening by the water. So that's happening in Baltimore. We also have just a great lineup in Baltimore that I want to talk about. This is my home chapter, and this is a call out to anybody in the greater Baltimore area. You've probably seen the chapter-focused emails that you get, but I'm going to ask you personally, reach out, hit us up at information@ccamd.org. Let me know if you want to be more involved in helping shape our upcoming banquet, September 19th at Port Covington Marina at Seagarden. Or any of our other events, because we're talking about some great anglers nights to possibly host at Union Craft this winter time and into the spring, and getting the chapter just more connected like some of our other chapters are is one of our priorities. So reach out to me, David at ccamd.org, or information@ccamd.org, because we'd love to have you more involved in the Baltimore area as we line up some great events. And so speaking of those events, again, the banquet, September 19th, and please get your tickets, your sponsorships. There's a great chance to be a title sponsor, get 2 tables to the banquet, and get a reef ball billed with your name and company on it. We can either come to you or you can come to us. The weekend after the banquet in Baltimore, the 25th and 26th, we'll be building with at Middle Branch Marina, as there's a 5K with South Baltimore Gateway Partnership. So we're doing a reef ball build there. We'll be looking for volunteers to help. Then the following weekend is Oyster Blues and Brews. That's October 3rd, right back at Port Covington Marina, Seagarden, Baltimore Peninsula. There's a reef ball build happening there too. So that can be one that a sponsor can put their name on by helping donate to the cause, and have all those weekends right in a row. And then October 10th, a big day up in Westminster. Again, we'll be building reef balls. We'll be working with students, sharing family-friendly, fun arts and crafts and fishing stuff, because that's Oyster Stroll in Westminster. It's Main Street is shut down, and I don't care where you live. If you haven't made it up to the Westminster Oyster Stroll, you're missing out. There's great food vendors, of course, great oysters, and the town has just perfected how to run a great event on a Saturday. So come on up. We can look for volunteers for that one too, to do any sort of little tasks throughout the day. Things like taking recycled shell down to our partners at CBF, or helping out with some of our arts and crafts, or helping build reef balls. So that's an afternoon commitment. And just another example of some of the great events we have coming up. And of course, let me jump over to our website real quick and share where you can find some of this stuff. As it says below, you should follow us on Instagram, Facebook, etc. You should be getting an email newsletter. Perhaps that's where you're watching this video. You can sign up for all that on our website. And also you can find in the description, if you're looking at this on YouTube, a link to our link tree for both CCA Maryland and CCA Virginia, because we work together to get our job done here in the region. And we're happy to have partners in both Maryland and Virginia, because you know what, we're united in conservation, and state borders don't matter to the issues that are most important to us. So on the Maryland site here, you'll see all events. Some of the upcoming events are right here. I like to click the all events button. In fact, I encourage you to bookmark this on your phone. You never know when you might want to fill in in an evening. You're coming home from work and, oh, there's a CCA event. Let me stop in there. Hear from Sean Kimbrough about trout and panfish. He'll be speaking at our Howard County chapter Angler Night Out. This is a brand new chapter. So that's August 13th. We're doing a reef ball build at Port Covington Marina with the family on the 15th and 16th. Tides and Vibes August, as I mentioned. Conservation Night Out. This is August 20th down at West End Grill with the Annapolis chapter. This is going to be a fun one. We'll hear from Ben Fertig about the work that the Severn River work that's being done in the Severn River, and I'll be giving you an update on the general kind of report of what's happening with our fisheries and what we're doing, what we should be keeping an eye out on the conservation front. So make sure you check out that one on the 20th, and RSVP now if you want to attend that. The Greater Washington chapter has a happy hour scheduled later in the month, and then into September, some anglers nights, some reef ball builds, the Baltimore banquet. Oh, here's a new one, September 17th. We're getting the details finalized right now, but a Chesapeake Perspective is back. This is the 3-part live stream series with Fish Talk Magazine. I know I can confirm on this first one, talking about striped bass and other species. We're going to have the folks from the Striped Bass Initiative talk about the tagging work they did here in the spring, the work they're doing to track striped bass, understand their behaviors, and answer some of the questions about what happens after a fish is hooked and released, and towing around this tag. So I hope you saw that stuff in the spring as our friends and partners were tagging these fish. We're excited to talk about it on the 17th, and you'll see a lot more from our friends at Fish Talk, as well as a full lineup of everything you can expect that night. Again, here's the Greater Baltimore Chapter Banquet title sponsor. Click on over here. We want to see you out there. The best way to fill these banquets is to get a group of friends together, get a table of 6 or 8, depending on the event. And the Annapolis chapter, in fact, is a perfect one to jump on right now because this one always sells out. It's on the back deck of the Chesapeake Bay Foundation. Mike Dardick, their chapter president and our board member, is just rocking and rolling, building a great team in the Annapolis chapter to host this event. So don't miss it. It's a great one, October 1st. We'd love to see you there. And then the following weekend, 2 days later, Port Covington Marina, at Sea Garden, at Baltimore Peninsula, we have Oyster Blues and Brews. We'll have 2 stages, music throughout the day, family-friendly activities underneath the tent, arts and crafts, some fantastic oysters, both raw and grilled, other food trucks, and it's just a fantastic day. There's easy to get to, easy to find right off of 95, a beautiful location and a brand new neighborhood that Baltimore is lucky to have. So Oyster Blues and Brews in the 4th year. We're excited to celebrate yet again a little bit later in the year, October 3rd, so we can really have some fun. I already mentioned Oyster Stroll. It needs to get added to our calendar here, and so we'll be doing that ASAP. And again, you'll see throughout the various portions of the state, you'll see different things happening. And let me jump over to the Commonwealth, the CCA Virginia. Again, our friends at the Friday Nights on the Landing at Legacy Marine. This August 28th, I'll be down with some friends and partners, and we'll be talking about the work that we do. We'll have friends from Chesapeake Bay Foundation and their Menhaden campaign, as well as the Virginia Saltwater Sport Fishing Association, and maybe another local group down there. We're manning the beer truck. There's live music. It's a great time. So if you're in that area, in the Yorktown area, or anywhere in the Tidewater region, come on up, hang out. This is meant to be a big social event and have some fun. Friday Nights on the Landing, August 28th is the one where we're highlighting CCA's work. So before I'm finished here, I'm going to jump into the fisheries stuff, because this week, in fact, tomorrow, Tuesday, the 4th, is the first day of the summer meeting for the Atlantic States Marine Fisheries Commission. I serve on the majority of the boards as the legislative proxy, all but the river herring and shad and then Menhaden boards, which are the proxy for that is Dr. Allison Colden. And so it's a week. The agenda is always the place you're going to go. You find that from the Atlantic States Marine Fisheries Commission website. That's asmfc.org. You've seen this a lot in a lot of my previous videos. But go ahead and go to the summer meeting link. It's right up here at the top. You can scroll through, and they have an interactive agenda, so you can scroll through it and find links throughout it. Also, things will be added to the meeting agenda that board members review before the meetings, but you, the public, can also view to follow along. Also, after the meeting, if you miss it and you want to go back and see what happened, you'll find YouTube videos, presentation links, and recordings, which will be posted a couple days after. So we'll highlight those in a future video. But it's a good way for folks to just get informed and catch up on what's happening with these species. And so this time they highlight the pending actions for the Atlantic Menhaden Draft Addendum 2. On Thursday, the Menhaden board will decide whether or not that document's ready to go out to the public. And so an addendum goes out for public comment. The leads of the species and the state agencies up and down the coast that have Menhaden fisheries will all hold meetings. Quite often those meetings are in person and virtual, so there's lots of opportunity for engagement. And also the public comment guidelines are right here, both for this meeting, but during the addendum process, you'll be able to enter public comments, through the website, through email, without even going to a meeting. So you can find all the information here. They do a great job. Follow along and subscribe to the ASMFC YouTube. You'll get the updates as the board meetings happen. And again, you can follow along live this week. So let's get into the agenda. We have some of the more northern species, the Atlantic Herring Board and the American Lobster Board on day 1 before lunch. And then a committee on economics and social sciences will be talking about some interesting stuff. Update on the Atlantic striped bass recreational demand model. So this is just a different model to consider how you may shape regulations. Follow along on this. It'll show you the kind of the development of work that's being done behind the scenes that may be used for management in the future. And this is really important because I know we're all thinking about what's happening next and where we've been, but some of the work establishing a better way to manage our fisheries into the future is done day in and day out by the folks that support the ASMFC and take part in it. So I encourage you to follow along with this, especially if you're interested in the science and the data and how it works. Winter flounder and tautog will finish out the day on Tuesday, and tog, we're looking at approving a addendum for public comment. So just like Menhaden, these two addenda, if passed, will be out there for public comment. There will be meetings. There will be the web-based portal, an opportunity to provide information. And here's some of the meeting materials that you can click and view the PDFs. And then Wednesday, executive committee, spiny dogfish, more economics discussions and how they're using different tools. And these links are specific to these meetings because they're separate than the normal board meeting, a little nuanced thing, but you can see the link right there if you're interested in attending that meeting. And then coastal pelagics, this is where the cobia fishery is managed, and there is consider of approval for the management plan review and compliance reports, and also what the TAC or the THQ, the total harvest quota and recreational rules will be for 2027. We're considering that for final action. So making potential changes to the cobia fishery. So check that out on Wednesday. Midday is when that meeting is held. I'm sorry, Thursday, pardon me. No, that is Wednesday. I can't read. And then on Wednesday, we have the Menhaden board in the afternoon. Thursday, we have the striped bass board, and then the meeting finishes out on Thursday. So Wednesday afternoon into Thursday is Menhaden and striped bass, the two most important fisheries we focus on here. And again, this addendum is looking at different ways to control what's being harvested when, specifically when it relates to the bay. And remember, last October, the board abandoned ecosystem-based management with Menhaden. They chose to, instead of reducing the total allowable catch coast-wide by as much as 56%, they chose to reduce by 20%. Of course, we're seeing a complete lack of abundance of Menhaden all throughout the region. We know the reduction boats have spent some time up towards the Hudson, up north. We're hearing there's lots of Menhaden up in Maine being caught. And so there's reallocations being discussed. Could the states potentially move their catch around as a formal matter, as a future management action? That's not on the docket this time, but it makes sense. As fish migrate and as abundances exist in certain areas, we should be managing based on that. We shouldn't have these just blanket rules that set the total catch in the Chesapeake Bay, for example, the bay cap of 51,000 metric tons. There's a lack of Menhaden here. The ecosystem needs them. So that 51,000 metric tons really overshadows the ecosystem need. It's not a sustainable level, even though in the past it may have been sustainable or based on some sort of fishery metric. For example, the bay cap is based on average catch over time, and that has decreased. So this addendum is going to talk about that. It has been talked about through work groups for quite some time now, but this is a chance to really dig in and understand what's going on and have the public's chance to say, these are the ways we'd prefer that this fishery be shaped moving forward, because there's no question that removal of fish at a massive scale like the industrial fishery does has an impact on our local fishermen, our local ecosystem, and is in direct conflict with recreational fisheries at times. There's also the bycatch issue, what's being caught there of important game fish. We saw a lot of that really coming on right to your face via video in the Gulf, where the nets are working in shallow water. Of course, in Louisiana, they've done some work to constrain the fishery a bit after some back and forth. So kudos to our friends and partners down there for getting that change done. Of course, it's never enough. And we have these international fisheries continuing to take our food base, ship it overseas to feed something and sell it back to us. It's upside down. And we hope that more and more leadership will find a way to balance the economic need that a fish like Menhaden can provide, because as we all know, they fuel so many sport fish and commercial fisheries that are needed. And it's time for some leadership to happen across the board on a state, regional, and federal level to shape this better into the future. The jobs matter for everyone involved in this story, and that's everybody that connects to the Chesapeake Bay in a meaningful way, either to harvest or tourism or you name it. These fish are a major linchpin, a major keystone species, the Atlantic Menhaden, and all eyes are on Wednesday afternoon down at the commission to see what happens. So again, follow along, get the commission updates, get signed up. They have a great website. They have great FAQs, great information about what's happening, and stand by for some more information about how you can get involved and provide public comment on any of the addenda that come out, and then anything that might be happening on a state level, both in Maryland and Virginia in the near future. And again, as always, down below, follow social media, reach out to us, shoot us an email, let us know what's going on. Because we'd love to have you more involved in our chapters. We can't do what we do without volunteer support, and the more volunteer support we have, the more time we free up for our team to dig in on the conservation issues that matter. Whether we're building your next fishing spot or working to shape regulations, we're here representing you, our membership, and we want you to join us. So thank you all. I hope you have a great week. Happy August. Get out there in Maryland and check out those bluefish, Spanish mackerel, some redfish, some cobia. There's plenty of stuff to fish for as we give our rockfish a break. And hey, sneak on down to Virginia. The fishing's always great down there. Thanks all. Have a great week.